Hello guys and welcome back. Let's move on to some more detailing of the model after we have the bigger shape blocked out. Just be aware that we will be able to still tweak the shape down the way. So it's not finalized. And to start with, we need to have more resolution because this is too low resolution. We cannot really do much with it. So back here to the geometry and then Dynamesh, let's crank that value up to quite a bit. So 512 will be the one I choose. It's like 4 times bigger, and then you can control drag in the empty space to re-dynamesh it. Okay, now you can see you're getting a much denser geometry. Alright, now we can dig in and try to refine the shape of the eyelid. Okay, now you can see when I start sculpting, I can get much more refined detail. Let me actually smooth it out first. Okay, and then you can see I'm trying to achieve a double eyelid up here, so let me draw that out. Alright, and also underneath it, I need to also refine the actual eyelid underneath it, and then I need to then try to figure out what's going on here, right? So right now I'm trying to look at my reference and see what's going on up there. Oftentimes you don't really know unless you have a reference, because for those kind of like detail, you can't memorize how they looks like, but it's always you always can learn something with some reference. Okay, so there's no shame trying to look at reference and try to copy what's going on over there. Okay, right. Now at this stage, you also don't really have to worry too much about the detail. Okay, what you want to do is block out the detailed shapes, but don't worry too much about like those random geometries you're getting here. Like you don't have that much resolution to make them look super good, but that's totally fine because those gonna be be gone after you retopologize it. Okay, so the bigger shape is still the focus. We're just blocking in more details down the way. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is figuring out the thickness of the eyelid. Where does it go, right? How thick it is towards the front. Okay, and how does the contour changes down the way? Okay, how round it is. Right. How does this arc looks like exactly from the reference? Okay. I'm using damp standard now to carve in the corner and then try to drag things around to get the correct shape I'm looking for. Okay, and let me get it in. Thinking there's kind of like another layer over here from my reference. Okay, and let me push it in. Okay, really try to figure out how this corner looks like. Right? How does this thing arcs? If you don't pay attention, you may end up with something totally random. Right? Have full control of everything. How do they go in and out? How does their contour looks like exactly? And try to figure out those things, and don't let it appears to be random, right? Try to control all these things. So yeah, let me smooth that out. And I don't see a lot of things happening here on my reference, so I'm just gonna have a nice and smooth arc. Okay, and I think the corner of the eye can go a little bit higher over here. Okay, and for the lower eyelid, you can use damp standard and holding down Alt to drag out a line here to indicate the thickness here. You can use edge polish to polish it in to be really specific on where does it transfer to the thickness of the eyelid, right? And then you can smooth it out to make it softer, of course, right? So some back and forth on that part. Okay, you also wanted to define like where the bottom of the eyelid goes eventually. You can use damp standard to carve in first, and then you can then smooth it out because it's not going to be a really sharp line, but you have to have some volume, something arcing around it. Okay, alright, and I can drag the corner in. Okay, alright, so I think I need just one more refinement here, because I see that the shape is more like something, it's hard to tell, but it's like you have this shape center here, and they're trying to push it in, smooth it out. Okay, figure out how this structure connects. Okay. All right. Sticker here. All right. So as long as it looks good from this distance, when you're looking at it from this angle, right, you don't worry about those bumpiness happening there, because those are just not possible to be done nicely with this geometry. We're gonna do more refinement after we have the topology, right? So don't worry about those wobbling happening here. That's not the focus here, and those can be actually disappear already when you retopologize it, because you just don't have that much topology to represent those things. So they will be gone eventually. So don't worry about this. Okay. I'm gonna have a little bit more sharpness here. I was holding down damp out while using damp standard to, you know, make this part a little bit more sharper, because I see that in my reference. Okay. So gradually build that up. Okay, now figuring out this arc. How does this arcs in from all those different angles, right? Right, try to make the turning more visible and stronger here, because that's what's appeared in my reference. Right. I think I can make this guy, the corner of the eye, just a little bit more longer. Okay, and then fill in some more stuff inside. Alright, I think I can make this part a little bit lower. Okay, and maybe that part just a little bit bigger. Okay. Alright, so now moving on down. Let me actually extend some of the structures here. I see that I do have a little visible winkle here. Not visible winkle, but it's more like the structure that's going down. Okay. Alright. And then moving on down here, I think the nose big shape is fine. Let me smooth it out and then try to figure out those visible creases, right? Something around here. Right. And it goes in. How does it connect? Like the structure here rotates inwards, right? So you want it to be able to define that. I still encourage you to use a lot of move brush if that's possible, because that's gonna allow you to, or force you to think about the bigger shape. But some damp standard here trying to mark out the bottom or the connection here, differentiate it from the structure beneath it. Okay. Now again, go to different angles and see if you can spot any issue. Doing detail is a tricky thing, because if you're doing detail and you dip yourself into the detailing part, you may lose the bigger picture very quickly. So that's why when you're doing detail, part of the job is refine the bigger shape. Okay, that's an important thing you wanted to always keep in mind. When you're doing detail, 50% of the job or the thing you're thinking is the primary shape you're getting. The bigger structure, the proportion. Blocking detail while trying to make the bigger shape better. Right? That's the correct way of thinking. Okay, because detail is not as important as the bigger picture, and you have to be able to always pay enough attention to that. Okay. I'm trying to figure out some planar structure around the nose using edge polish. Okay. I think I need just a little bit more volume down here. Okay. I don't like this part going in that much, so let me drag it out as soon as that. Okay. I think she has a pretty strong nose, so I'm going to make that more visible here. So that's not going to be true for everyone. Again, that's the characteristic you designed, right? You want it to be stronger or weaker. That's based on your characteristic, right? Some people may appear to be really soft. This part can be super smooth for some character and can be really sharp for others. That's not something like has to be this way or the other way around, but rather that's a design, right? That's a choice you make. Let me just enhance the cheekbone a little bit more. Okay, think about how does it blend to the top, right, to the eye socket. All right, and give it a little bit more sharpness by using edge polish to polish it. Okay. Alright. Thinking I can also make some of the structures on the forehead more visible. So some edge polish, sometimes standard, to mark out the structures around it. And they're pretty soft eventually, so you don't really want it to make them super visible, but just, you know, the bone structure is supposed to be somehow having some sharp edges. So that's what I'm trying to do here. But overall it's gonna be like a visible budge, more or less in the front, right? And you can see I'm trying to mark that out right somewhere here. Oops, don't really want to smooth that part. Okay, but it's not gonna be that visible, so that's why I'm trying to smooth it and blend it a little bit more. Trying to refine the contour. It will be more easy if you have like a skull model in front of you, then you can use that as references to take a look at how does that part looks like. Copying from the reference might be excuse me, so copying the structure around it may not be as easy as you think because of the lighting from your reference. That could be really flat. Okay, so you kind of want it to be able to really find some real reference that does have that structure visible. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna break this video now and moving on to the next. We're gonna move on down to the mouse part and refine that and other parts that we need to do more refining. Okay, see you next time.